The Holocaust was a very unforgettable time in history. It was a horrible time period with a lot of hate and racism. The Nazis were the leaders of all this hate, but the main leader was Adolf Hitler. He had a strong belief in fascism because of a man named Benito Mussolini. His main plan was to take down the Jews along with anyone who didn't agree with his ways. Nazis, fascism, and racist political parties are things that should never be forgotten because of all the torture men, women, and children went through to get us where we are today. During the Holocaust, the Germans created new and different laws to marginalize the Jewish communities and other political opponents. They created new decrees involving the money Jews could or could not spend and receive or not receive. On April 22, 1933, a decree came into play stating that reimbursements of expenses would not be given to those with non-Aryan doctors, though Jewish veterans and Jews who had suffered from the war were an exception. In 1938, another decree was signed that said, "I shall choose the wording this way, that the German Jewry shall, as punishment for their abominable crimes, etc., etc., have to make a contribution of 1 billion. That'll work." Germans also created multiple laws restricting Jews from multiple activities such as attending school or entering a specific profession. On April 7, 1933, one law had been created to say that no Jew could enter the field of law as a profession. On April 25, 1933, a law was passed that banned a large amount of Jewish students from attending high school. Specifically, Jews could only take up 1.5% of a high school's population, although there was an exception. In communities where more than 5% of the population was Jewish, the number was raised to 5% of the high school student body. Germans weren't just at war with the Jews. They had many other political opponents, or enemies of the Third Reich. Some enemies of the Third Reich were gypsies, social democrats, opponents of Nazism, Jehovah's Witnesses, homosexuals, habitual criminals, and the mentally disadvantaged or ill, or others rejected by society, such as homeless people. The main difference between how the Jews were treated and how these other politically rejected opponents were treated were Jews were only targeted for complete annihilation, and an entire family of Jews were persecuted, whereas the political opponents were persecuted individually. Fascism is an extreme political movement that could potentially fuel a new government leader. Fascism was the governing ideology of Germany and Italy. It was fascist thinking that led to both countries to believe that they were right to start the war and they could win it. Hitler used fascism to get what he wanted during the Holocaust. He thought that if he took over something, then he would be the leader and he could tell everyone what to do. And that's exactly what happened. Italy was not led by fascism by Hitler. Benito Mussolini led it. Mussolini took over Italy and became in control of the Italian people who lived there. Mussolini and his Italian Fascist Party came into power the year of 1922. Hitler became the ruler of Germany in 1933, 11 years after Mussolini took power over Italy. The invasion of Italy and Germany was controlled by fascism. When Germany was taken over, that is what led to the Holocaust, led by Adolf Hitler. The Nazis came up with an idea called the final solution. The final solution was the plan to completely annihilate all the Jews. There were many masterminds behind the final solution, not just one or two men. There was a conference called together on January 20th, 1942, where high-ranking officers of the Nazi regime and German officials gathered together. This was the Wannsee Conference. Here they discussed what they called the final solution to the Jewish question, the complete and total annihilation of all European Jews. Racism was the whole cause for the Holocaust. Hitler was the person who started the Nazis and the Holocaust. During the German invasion of the Soviet Union on 1941, mobile killing squads began killing entire Jewish communities. Hitler believed that his race, the Aryan race, was so pure, he thought that getting rid of all Jews throughout Europe, along with other races he believed to be subhuman, including Slavs, gypsies, homosexuals, the mentally ill, and disabled. Fascism is what Hitler used to create the Holocaust and make sure that everyone listened to what he had to say. Fascism is a government system started by Benito Mussolini in Italy. It is a government system led by one dictator having complete power and emphasizing the nationalism and racism. It is also a form of totalitarian control. Communism was also a problem along with fascism. The Holocaust is an impossible time to forget. Those who try to forget should be reminded every day of this terrible time. This is true because of the many reasons listed above. So many women, men, and children were tormented, killed, and punished for crimes they didn't commit, much less even think about. They didn't know what they were being punished for. Forgetting the Holocaust is a crime in itself. The Holocaust was a crime in itself, much less forgetting such an extreme. Nazis, fascism, and racist political agendas are things that never should be forgotten because of all the torture men, women, and children went through to get us where we are today.